We got you, David. You're all right.
Hello, beautiful folks on the internet. Welcome to Lunatic Earth.
You do this, you go.
David Blaine is an American illusionist and endurance stunt performer. From producing frogs out of his mouth to pushing an ice pick through his bicep.
That's fucking horrible.
That looks Ricky.
He has been performing such tricks since his first ever TV special, which came 23 years ago. Over these years, David has set and broken several world records, and today we'll be taking a look at some of his most extreme, pain-enduring stunts that almost left him lifeless. With that being said, these are the top 5 David Blaine stunts that went beyond human limits.
David Blaine, your magic is real and I believe in you.
Frozen in time. In the year 2000, David Blaine began with one of his most difficult endurance stunts at the center of Times Square, where he was encased in a massive block of ice and stood there for 63 hours and 43 minutes. David was standing persistently inside this bone-chilling chamber without food and sleep. A tube supplied him oxygen and water to survive. After almost 3 days, David started to suffer with sleep deprivation and freezing cold temperature torturing his body. He was removed out and was immediately rushed to the hospital. Later, David revealed that he couldn't walk for almost a month after this attempt. Buried alive. In the early 90s, Joseph Burris lost his life in an attempt of being buried alive. He was buried in a plexiglass coffin under 7 tons of dirt and cement. Unfortunately, the coffin collapsed under the massive weight of wet cement, and he literally got buried alive. 9 years after his tragic death, David Blaine announced his first ever public endurance. David claimed to spend 7 days inside a casket.
David, I could just say that you have great courage. I wouldn't do this on any kind of a bet, but it's going to be interesting and lots of luck and enjoy it. And I'll see you in about a week. I hope.
As he didn't want to repeat the same mistake that took Joseph's life. So instead of dirt and cement, Blaine decided to cover his coffin underneath a tank filled with 3 tons of water, which also allowed the spectators to see through the coffin. More than 75,000 people visited the site over the course of 7 days. David Blaine successfully completed this stunt, and here's what he said about his experience. I saw something very prophetic, a vision of every race, every religion, every age group bending together, and that made all this worthwhile. Vertigo. After 2 successful feats, David Blaine didn't stop to question his own limits. This time, he stood on a 100 feet tall pillar for 35 hours without any safety harness or net. Thousands of people gathered in Bryant Park to watch this spectacle. After 35 hours of no sleep and extremely dehydrated, Blaine concluded the stunt by jumping off from almost 100 feet down into a pile of cardboard boxes. He suffered severe concussion and a fractured rib. Above the below. This was probably the most longest endurance test of David Blaine. He was suspended 30 feet above the ground in a confined transparent box for 44 consecutive days. The only thing that Blaine was consuming for the next 6 weeks was just 4 liters of water every day. After 44 days of pure starvation and being locked inside a confined box, Blaine lost more than 60 pounds of weight. As the box was lowered to the ground, David emerged and broke down in tears. David said, "I have learned more in that little box than I have in years." Drowned alive. This time, David attempted to display his endurance that no one has ever witnessed before. The idea was to live for 7 days and 7 nights inside a 8-foot human aquarium filled with 2,000 gallons of water, with oxygen and food being fed through tubes. Not only that, he also stated that he will conclude the stunt by breaking the breath-holding world record of 8 minutes and 58 seconds back then. On the final day of the stunt, after holding his breath for more than 7 minutes, David started to black out. He was agonized by the urge of oxygen. The paramedics noticed this and divers immediately jumped in and pulled him out from the tank. After 7 days of torturing his body, Blaine suffered serious consequences. He damaged his organs and his hands and feet became extremely fragile and numb. David surely failed to accomplish his goal that night, but that didn't stop him. A year later, he set another huge record by holding his breath for 17 minutes.
17 minutes.
He will go down in history as one of the greatest showmen of all time.
Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you had a great time. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe. Till then,
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Are you an illusionist? Are you a trickster? What is it? Are you a stunt man? What are you? How would you describe yourself?
Just a showman.
Yeah?